I was once told that the world's problems could be solved with cold steel and gunpowder. The man who said that to me lived in a world of money and politics, but above all a world of gray, where morality and self-interest were synonymous. And even though I thought his statement was silly and idealistic, I said, you might be right about that. And then I killed him. As I sat across from his lifeless corpse, I considered that perhaps in his world a bullet was the only way to solve a problem. That his reality really was that simple, where a man with a gun could very well save the world. I thought to myself, that might not be such a bad place. But in reality, I don't really care about solving problems or saving the world. My only concern is squeezing the trigger. Because it doesn't matter who you are or why someone wants you dead. What matters is completing the contract. If the deal is made and you are still alive, I will kill you. There is a part of me that is disgusted and would very much like to eviscerate you after calling you a sick fuck. There is another part that doesn't believe you and I are so different, nor does it understand why the other part of me is disgusted. It raises the question, what is it that actually separates you and me? It cites the trail of corpses and shell casings behind us as evidence of our similarity. And it believes that in the eyes of a neutral observer, you and I are in fact equivalent. However, I believe motivation is our primary difference. I'm flattered. If I were a sentimental man, Frank, I might even think of you as a friend. But unfortunately, I'm not a sentimental man. I'm a sadistic killer. And a sick fuck. Tell me, Frank, what is your motivation? A few days ago, Dexter, I told the client that I was going to murder him. In response, he told me he had children, and then handed me a picture. He went on to say a lot of uninteresting things that I didn't really care about, but one thing in particular stood out. He said, "No matter how many times you replace the parts of a car, Frank, it will never be a blue whale. Because it's a car." He said that to me because he believed I was on a crusade to change the world. In his analogy, the world is a car, and we are car parts, characteristically unchanging and replaceable. When a part fails, another part takes its place, and the world turns as it did before, as if nothing ever happened. The overriding point was that a bullet could not change the world. Unfortunately, I've never really been about changing the world, or even dispensing justice. My motivation, Dexter, comes from a desire to punish those who deserve to be punished. In fact, if I were a religious man, I might even think of myself as a hand of God, of the Old Testament. There are those who would say you kill because you enjoy killing, and are no more a hand of God than I am a stuffed pepper. All detractors should be aware that punishment is very simple, and a much more loosely applicable concept than justice. Fascinating. But I am curious, Frank. How does the story end? I told him his children were beautiful, and that his death would be a tragedy. And then I shot him in the head twice, and he died. But before I shot him, I did ask myself, am I going to kill this man, or let him live for the sake of his children? And then I remembered that punishment is old and callous. It is not concerned with collateral damage. It doesn't care about children. Tragic. I said to his corpse, hopefully your replacement won't be as much of a shitbag as you were. But I'll probably kill him too. And, hypothetically speaking, what would you have said to his children? Sorry, kids, but we can't all be winners. although I later discovered that he didn't have any children. The picture was a fake, and a ploy to garner my favor, to save his life. Well, it's a good thing you're a heartless prick. I'm not a heartless prick, Dexter. Then what are you, Frank? I'm Old Testament.